Welcome to NACTV Reads the News. My name is Gwen Jacobsen, and I'm one of many volunteers that help create programming for our station. NACTV can be seen on MTS Channel 30 or 1030, Westband Cable Channel 12, Bell Satellite Channel 592, or online at nactv.tv. These programs are made possible by our volunteers, staff, advertisers, as well as donations made by you, the viewers. If you are enjoying your NACTV experience, please consider supporting us by either donation or volunteering. You can contact our office at 204-476-2639 or at nactv@wcgwave.ca. This week's Nipawin Banner and Press is dated Friday, October 16th, 2020. The front page news of the week is Cyber Fraud Attacks Westlake Gladstone. The council and staff of the municipality of Westlake Gladstone would like to inform you that the municipality of Westlake Gladstone was the target of a malicious cyber security breach in which a significant amount of money was electronically stolen from the municipality's operating bank account. During the period of late December 2019 through the Christmas holiday season, electronic withdrawals in the amount of approximately $9,950 were made from our account at Stride Credit Union. The municipality of Westlake Gladstone does not utilize online banking for the transfer or withdrawal of funds at any time. The total loss over this period was approximately $447,000. The discovery of the missing funds was acted upon immediately by the CAO, who contacted Stride Credit Union, the RCMP, and Council to report the theft. The municipality had a secure server and network monitored by CalTI Management. CalTI monitors for viruses and malware, also making sure there is a business continuity strategy that is located in Canada. Our IT specialists, CalTI Management Systems, have been unable to detect any suspicious activity on the administrative office server and network, and are confident that the server and networks in our office are secure. The municipality has been trying to work with Stride Credit Union to assist them in determining how the money was accessed, but so far cooperation has been very limited. Stride Credit Union has been working with their legal team in Saskatoon to address our concerns for fund security and our request for the replacement of funds. We have made a claim through our insurance company to cover this loss. However, to date, they have denied the claim, even though the Association of Manitoba Municipalities have worked with the insurance provider, called Western Financial, to ensure that all municipalities in Manitoba have extensive coverage for cyber fraud. We have hired a national computer security expert to review both the computer logs of the municipality and Stride Credit Union to determine how the bank account was accessed, and to follow the trail to determine where the money was sent. Initial investigations show it was sent to Toronto and then out of Canada immediately. We have also engaged our own legal counsel to obtain the following information. Number one, why did Stride Credit Union not notify the municipality of that many repetitive, out-of-the-ordinary transactions that were occurring on the account using a method that nobody at the municipality has the authority to do? Number two, why is our insurance claim being denied, even though AMM claims we had extensive coverage for cyber fraud? And number three, work with Stride Credit Union to obtain its computer logs during that period of time for review by our own security expert. Your local government has been carefully working with experts that will lead us to a recovery of taxpayers' money. AMM has offered the municipality assistance with legal fees through the utilization of their legal fund. We are confident that their involvement will greatly assist in our cause. We had wanted to release this information to the public sooner rather than later. However, under direction of our legal team, we were advised to wait until there was more information available. Unfortunately, the time has come for a release to meet our obligations to our financial audit, and we have no resolution to the issue to date. Updates on the issue will be made available as we receive them. And as a note from the Nipawin Banner and Press, they contacted Stride Credit Union CEO Brent Buds, who said, "I haven't seen the press release yet, so I cannot comment. But as soon as I have seen it, I will be available to discuss it." The Westlake Gladstone press conference was at 1 p.m. Wednesday, and the Nipawin Banner and Press print deadline is 2 p.m., so a follow-up story is planned for next week's paper. There's a new staff sergeant settling in with Spruce Plains RCMP. The Spruce Plains RCMP detachment now has a permanent staff sergeant area commander after 6 years with only a temporary one. As of September 1st, Staff Sergeant Colby Argue has taken over the role from former acting Staff Sergeant Mark Moorhouse, who is going back to full-time at his former position, the Operations NCO for Spruce Plains. Argue has been with the RCMP for 17 years and transferred here from the Westman Detachment in the Verdon-Reston-Melita area. I was area commander there, so similar position to what it is here. But before that, I was a staff sergeant up in Thompson. He noted that he was in Thompson for 4 years. Before he was a staff sergeant there, he was also involved in general investigations which dealt with major crimes. Originally, Argue is from Cartwright, Manitoba, so he is familiar with the southwestern Manitoba region. "I love the area," he said, "so when I saw this position was potentially coming up, I requested Nipawin. I guess luck worked out and I was able to get here." Because Moorhouse is staying on at the detachment, he has been able to help Argue get settled into his new position. Colby and I are working very close together and running ideas off of each other, so it's all working out very, very well, Moorhouse explained. This is a huge benefit because the RCMP, a lot of times, with the way our transfers work out, you end up going to a spot sometimes, and the person who was filling in for that spot leaves either before you get there or shortly thereafter. So it's been great working with Mark and continuing to work with Mark, Argue stated. He's got the detachment running fantastic, and it's very, very helpful for me to know a little bit of the history of how things have been. Argue noted that his first impressions of Nipawin have been good so far. It seems like there's good police visibility. We're really trying to get out to all of our areas and not just Nipawin, but we have a large area. But very impressed with the way Mark has things set up, he said. Moorhouse explained that the Spruce Plains detachment covers about 3,000 square kilometers of southwestern Manitoba, from north of Kelwood to as far southeast as Catrim, to as far west as Newdale, down to Rapid City. Argue and Moorhouse both stressed that to be effective in such a large area, they really need the public to report anything and everything so they can keep track of patterns of activity in the different areas. "I just want us to be approachable. I want people to not be afraid to call in, even if they think it's a very minor complaint. It's very important for us that people report crimes. I think sometimes in small communities, people think it might be a bother. Oh, it's too minor, I don't need to report it. But it is important to us. We use a lot of things like crime analyst tools and intelligent-led policing to tailor our patrols to certain areas. So if we have an idea of certain areas where there's been crime, like break-and-enters or thefts, we can put more resources in place," Argue explained. Moorhouse echoed the sentiment, saying, "Report, report, report," because with that crime analysis, it really shows the areas. And I know people have called in and said that it's only been a battery or a camera that's been stolen, but it sets a trend and we have some place to start and go to. So call everything in. That's what we want. Oops. Road ahead uncertain for Neepawa's Arts Forward. Last year, in an article published in the January 18th Neepawa Banner and Press, it was revealed that Arts Forward was in dire straits. President Ron Nordstrom at the time noted that when unexpected costs arose, Arts Forward was in trouble, stating, "We're barely keeping it together." This year, particularly with COVID-19, readers may be wondering how the Neepawa Arts Center is doing now. Arts Forward's annual budget in the past has typically been around $109,000 per year. 62% of this funding came from the center's programs, fundraising and facility rentals, 7% from non-government support and donations, and the remaining 31% from government sources, mostly provincial. Revenue from municipal governments covered a total of 6% of the total yearly budget. Since 2014, funding from the town of Neepawa to Arts Forward went down from $12,000 per year to $6,500 and was granted a tax exemption. In the 2019 article mentioned previously, it was noted that Arts Forward asked the town to consider a grant of $23,045, which would equal to about $5 per town resident, according to a 2016 StatsCan census numbers. Though the final numbers aren't ready as of yet, Nordstrom was able to provide some insight into the Art Center's situation for the 2020 fiscal year. All in all, it's a mix-up of ups and downs. After significant losses the past few years, this year's budget was trimmed wherever possible. We had cut costs considerably in areas like garbage removal, facility cleaning costs, operating expenses, and advertising, Nordstrom explained. At the time, we lobbied to increase our private donation and business sponsorship programs to add to our regular grant revenue from the town, municipalities, and province. The town of Neepawa did not go forward with the $23,000 grant following the 2019 proposal. However, the gallery's concerns were still heard. The town increased funding towards Arts Forward to a total of $15,000, while also allowing the property tax exemption. Nordstrom reports that private individuals and businesses also answered the center's call for financial help. Prior to Arts Forward shutting down in March because of the pandemic, we were on a financial track to balance the budget or make a small profit, Nordstrom relayed. Since March, Arts Forward has had few opportunities to hold programming or events to raise funds. Fortunately, however, their rental income since reopening has been higher than anticipated. Additionally, Arts Forward has been able to take advantage of the federal wage subsidy programs for regular employees, which Nordstrom says saved the gallery a lot of money. Arts Forward Administrator and Director of Programming, Rain Prairie, also took on the role of bookkeeper after the previous individual stepped down earlier this year. All these factors, combined with the federal grant for a summer student, put us in a comfortable financial situation this fiscal year, said Nordstrom. Though Arts Forward is in a more comfortable position this year, it isn't without its concerns. The gallery's mandate is to offer programming such as painting and dance classes. However, due to the ongoing pandemic, this has proven quite challenging. Without being able to generate much income at this time and federal wage subsidies coming to an end, we will have to rely on government funding more than ever. Rain Prairie also provided comment on this matter, stating, "It's hard to say what's going to happen next year or even a month from now. That's the hardest part, really. How do you plan your programming when you have no idea if you're even going to be able to have it?" She added, "We've tried new things this year, like the creative kits for at home, where everyone takes a kit home and watches the video on how to do the craft. We did that throughout the summer, so that's one of the adaptations we've made. But financially, it's so hard to plan for it. We're trying to put a budget together, but how do you do that?" The Director of Programming believes that their regular operating funding from the province will remain fairly stable. However, in these uncertain circumstances, she does not wish to count on anything 100%. We're in a space, which I think everyone is in, of just trying to adapt, Prairie confided. Arts Forward is currently planning its annual general meeting for November the 10th. At the meeting, members of the board will be able to take full stock of the details. Green light for 2020 Neepawa Rotary Auction. The Rotary Television Auction has been the major fundraising event each year for the Neepawa Rotary Club. Approximately 30 volunteers in close proximity are needed to run this televised event. Auction Chair Pam Miller states, with the current health restrictions and precautions due to the pandemic, it would be difficult to run this auction as we have in the past. Our club has examined different ways to adapt our current format and has decided to run an online auction instead. Providing a safe environment for auction volunteers and the public was a number one priority for the club. They believe that by offering an online auction, interaction between volunteers can be kept to a minimum. Safety measures will also be in place when successful bidders come to pick up their items. Many events being run by nonprofit organizations are being canceled, or organizers are having to become more inventive with their fundraising efforts due to COVID-19. Rotary considered canceling their event. However, they felt the need for local community support may be greater than ever. Miller says despite the challenges created by the pandemic, Neepawa Rotary Club has committed to running its annual auction as our community need may be greater this year, and the auction is our biggest annual fundraising event. This year's auction proceeds will support a primary project helping Neepawa and area schools upgrade remote learning technologies. There will also be support for other community and international projects. Last year, support from community businesses allowed Neepawa Rotary to invest $19,000 in local organizations and nearly $5,000 in international projects such as education programs in Guatemala, disaster relief, and polio eradication. Auction committee member Ron Nordstrom says the event will look and feel much different from past years. All items will be online on our auction site with a picture, description, value, bidding increments, and possibly a starting bid. The auction will start on December the 3rd and the final items will close December 10th. Bidders will need to sign up in advance or during the auction to bid. They can track the items over a number of days to see the most recent bids and will be notified if they are the winning bid. Items will be available for pickup from Arts Forward on Friday, December 11th. Details regarding signing up and how to bid will be released later and promoted through posters as well as the Neepawa Rotary website and Facebook page. Singin' in the Grain, virtual concert to raise money for Food Grains Bank. You are invited to a virtual Singin' in the Grain fundraising concert. The link to this concert will be on the Canadian Food Grains Bank website on Friday, October 16th from 8 p.m. Central Standard Time, and appropriately, October 16th is World Food Day. The Singin' in the Grain Committee has organized annual fundraising concerts to support Canadian Food Grains Bank since 2011. COVID-19 has meant that we have had to regretfully cancel our concerts with high school choirs from Steinbach and Winnipeg previously planned for this fall. The pandemic is also a global hardship that recognizes no borders. In countries where food security was already an issue, the COVID-19 pandemic has made many people's situation much more precarious and is threatening a hunger pandemic. In response to this global pandemic and food security crisis, we invite you to a virtual fundraising concert to support food security programs of Mennonite Central Committee, or MCC, and the Food Grains Bank as they respond to the pandemic. 3 sets of talented musical guests have offered their time and talents for you to enjoy in an hour of outstanding music. The Quonset brothers from Winkler, sister-brother duo Christelle Peters and Corey Peters from Steinbach, and Steve Bell from Winnipeg. Jim Cornelius, outgoing Executive Director of Canadian Food Grains Bank, will also offer a short update. All proceeds will go towards COVID-19 response programs of MCC through the Food Grains Bank. The link to the virtual concert will be on the website at www.foodgrainsbank.ca/singing. This link will be activated at 8 p.m. on Friday, October 16th, but you can view it after that time as well. So mark your calendars for Friday or view the concert later. And Helen Drysdale this week, out of Helen's Kitchen, she is talking about the Dust Bowl era. The Depression of the 1930s is often referred to as the 10 lost years and the prairies as the Dust Bowl. We've all seen the pictures of dust clouds, hobos on boxcars, and the lineups at the soup kitchens. Depression was, for the most part, worldwide. For Canada, all provinces were hit hard, but the prairies were truly the epicenter of the devastation. It began with the stock market crash for all of the country, but on the prairies, a severe and prolonged drought hit. In the previous years, the prairie farms had been taking on larger debt loads by buying more land and purchasing newer machinery. Manitoba was reliant on the wheat crop, but the price of wheat fell below the cost of seed. The land turned to dust, and millions of acres of topsoil just blew away. The now not-so-friendly bankers foreclosed on the farmers and evicted many, who left their farms and moved to the cities to search for new jobs that were not there. In Manitoba, the areas of Nipawin and Portage and further north did not suffer like the southern portion of Manitoba with their lighter soil and lack of trees. Those who farmed in southern Manitoba during the drought faced a nightmare. Dust storms blew their seed away. The grasshoppers ate all that did grow and more, such as the paint from the buildings, varnish off the handles of farm tools, and the clothes hanging on the clotheslines. Swarms of grasshoppers blocked out the sun, and when the poultry ate the grasshoppers, the eggs and meat had a foul taste. Russian thistle thrived in the dry condition and collected along the fence lines and buildings. There was no grass in the pastures and no hay to cut, thus nothing to feed to their livestock. The livestock prices were so low that when you shipped cattle, you might get a bill back, as the cattle cost more to ship the price of the animals. Gophers were plentiful, and for some, gophers were an essential food source, with gopher pie being a favorite. The recipe I found took 8 gophers to make a pie. Between 1929 and 1932, per capita incomes fell by 49% in Manitoba. Winnipeg's population was hit hard as thousands lost their jobs. Winnipeg's unemployment rate was the second highest in Canada in 1932. The employed people took drastic pay cuts, and the city was plunging into debt due to businesses closing and overwhelming demands for welfare. The welfare of the poor had always been left to the churches and charities. For the churches, the multitudes needing help was overwhelming, and with little money coming in, the governments had to step in to help. Winnipeg cooked up a scheme that if any unemployed aliens wanted repatriation to their home countries, help was available for them. Immigration was almost completely halted during the Depression. Proud family men sometimes refused handouts. They considered it a disgrace, and truthfully, many who applied were treated very harshly and very poorly. Many families lacked shoes and clothes for the children, so they never went to school. Many ate boiled wheat or oatmeal porridge day after day as it was their only food source. The lucky Prime Minister during the first years of the Depression was R.B. Bennett, and many things were named after him, such as a Bennett Yard, the name for a farm that had been abandoned, or Bennett Coffee, the name used for roasted wheat coffee, or the Bennett Buggy, cars that had been made into buggies when the money for gas was no longer available. I don't think you will be interested in the gopher pie recipe, so here is a chicken pot pie recipe to try instead, which you can find in the paper. Infrastructure Minister returns to Nipawin. Town of Nipawin officials were more than pleased to welcome an unexpected visitor to the community recently. On Tuesday, October 6th, Ron Schuler, the Provincial Minister of Infrastructure, made an impromptu stop in Nipawin. On that day, the MLA was visiting Rivers and Rapid City to provide updates on the rehabilitation of a pair of dams that were damaged from massive storms in late June, early July. Nipawin's Park Lake and other parts of the community were also impacted from that same weather event. Nipawin's CAO, Colleen Sensation, noted that while the visit from the minister was unexpected, it was still appreciated. We received a call that said that Minister Schuler was headed to Rivers and Rapid City, and because he was heading down Highway 16, they thought it was reasonable to stop at some of the other communities along the way. So we were like, great, we'll squeeze you in. He kept apologizing for the short notice, but we didn't care. Short notice, whatever, that's perfect, we'll fit you in, said Sensation. The visit really was simply an opportunity to see how each community is starting to recover. We were able to provide Minister Schuler and his entourage some information on what happened and how we're formulating our plan for recovery and repair. It was a good discussion about moving forward. Sensation also added that the town is being very careful to take a regional approach to this repair effort. She said that they understand that anything that is done to Nipawin's portion to the waterway will have ramifications for nearby rural communities as well. As for information from the provincial side of the discussion, Sensation said that they mainly talked about the submission process for the Disaster Financial Assistance Program, which was announced in September. As well, concerns on the flooding's effect upon Highway 16 were also reviewed. Fatal ATV accident claims life of former Nipawin youth. A pair of communities are mourning upon learning of the recent passing of a youth due to an all-terrain vehicle accident. On Saturday, October 10th at around 1 p.m., Pembina Valley RCMP received a call related to an ATV rollover just north of Stephenville Provincial Park in the RM of Dufferin. The initial investigation suggests that the vehicle was coming down a hill into a sand pit when it rolled. The driver and lone rider of the ATV, a 14-year-old male, was pinned by the vehicle. The youth was pronounced deceased on the scene. He was wearing a helmet at the time of the accident. RCMP have not publicly named the youth, but several community groups in Nipawin and Winkler have acknowledged the young man on social media as Keegan Airy. Organization such as the Nipawin Natives Junior A Hockey Club and the Winkler Minor Hockey Association have publicly expressed their heartfelt condolences to the family for their loss. The Banner and Press also sends its condolences to everyone affected by this tragic accident. The spotlight is on Leanne Flett. Leanne Flett, age 17, is a member of the 2021 Carberry Collegiate graduating class with a strong academic and athletic background. Currently studying biology, English, and law, she is on the school's honor roll with an average of 89%. Leanne is happy to hear that provincial exams will not be held in January. However, they have already been practicing for an English provincial exam. In hockey, Leanne is starting her 5th season with the Bantam and Midget Central Plains Capitals, who play out of Portage La Prairie. A right-handed shooting defenseman, she is usually first into the corners and relishes the body contact. One of her role models is former national team member Sammy Jo Small, whom she met at a hockey camp. During the past 2 summers, she has played with the West Bend Magic in the Manitoba Women's Super Softball League as a catcher and first baseman. In 2019, the Magic won the Western Canada Under-16 Championship in Biggar, Saskatchewan. This season, the Magic played in the 5-team Under-19 Super League. She was a catcher with the high school Cougars in grade 9 when they won the Zone 4 banner, and attended the provincials in Winkler, with pitcher Cassie Serrar leading the way. If the Cougars get a chance to play in 2021, they are loaded with talent. In badminton, she teamed up with Ethan Bjornsson to win the Zone 4 Junior Varsity Mixed Doubles banner and attended provincials in Winkler. They played well, but a scoring miscue sent them home Saturday, missing the playoffs. With a very active schedule, Leanne was still able to work at the Summer Shack this summer. Future plans would have Leanne continuing her studies and playing hockey, possibly at the University of Regina. And here is Gladwin Scott's Here and There. The Life Working Planning course is taken by grade 10 students with teacher Reagan Dick. They have been involved recently in raking leaves and garden cleanup around the community. Keegan Drysdale, Mallory Lockhart, Tegan Anderson, and Colby Weeb did an excellent job of our garden cleanup and returned to school with a dozen chocolate chip cookies and a donation to the student council. After 22 years of service as a firefighter, Captain and Trainer Jim Brereton will no longer be with the local fire department as he is leaving the area. McCain's recently donated $50,000 for the new extension of the fire hall, which had a total cost of $785,000. Total donations have amounted to $198,220, which left $300,000 for each of the town and RM. The armed forces from Shiloh and the local cadets will not be available for the Carberry Remembrance Day service this year. On October 1st, Minister of Education Kelvin Gertsen announced that grade 12 provincial exams in January have been cancelled for this year due to learning disruptions caused by COVID-19. Due to the fear of COVID-19, homeschooling in Manitoba has increased from 3,500 to 6,500 students this year. Hats off to Diane Fass-Scherfling and her friends, who raised over $750 through a successful bake sale for the Art Cyr Park playground equipment. For the newcomers, Art Cyr was a former Carberry mayor, a master mason, a sportsman, and member of the Carberry Minor Hockey Wall of Fame, and a respected citizen. Diane is a new mother and former Popular Arena canteen manager. The Westman High School Hockey League held its second fall meeting Friday, October 9th, with 8 teams committing for the 2020-21 season. They were divided into 2 divisions who will play within their own area until the new year. The schedule will be made October 15th. The South Division will include teams in Deloraine Hartney, Boissevain Souris, Western Elkhorn Maletta Pearson, and Killarney Wawanesa. The North includes Dauphin, McCreary, Vincent Massey, and Crocus Plains. Corey Forbes will serve as co-chairman and commissioner for the league. The Carberry Glenborough Balder student athletes plan to form an under-18 hockey team and play in a league. Winkler win in overtime and spoils Nipawa's home opener. Reed Dick of the Winkler Flyers ended up spoiling the party for Nipawa at its MJHL regular season home opener on Friday, October 2nd at the Yellowhead Arena. The 16-year-old goaltender made 24 saves including several potential goal-saving snags with his glove hand to help lift Winkler to a 3-2 victory in overtime. Dick would end up doing the same again the following night in Winkler, as the Flyers defeated Nipawin on that occasion 4-1. In total, Dick, who was selected by the Swift Current Broncos in the 2019 WHA Bantam Draft, made a combined 59 saves in the pair of wins over the weekend. As for Nipawin, the team played a strong 60-plus minutes in its home opener, but were unable to register the goals they needed to come away with the win. These two teams will square off again this weekend. First, Nipawin will go to Winkler for a game on Friday, October 16th. Those same clubs will then be back on the ice at the Yellowhead Arena for Saturday, October 17th at 7:30. The team captain and assistants for the Nipawin natives have been unveiled. Veteran Eli Leifers will wear the C on his sweater for the season, while Carter Sawchuk and Austin Klein will be the alternates. For Leifers, this is his third season with Nipawin. Last year, the 20-year-old Saskatoon native accumulated 43 points, 19 goals and 24 assists in 51 games and was the team's leading scorer. Tiger Hills Hockey League will go forward. The Tiger Hills Hockey League, THHL, held its fall meeting in Spruce on Tuesday, October 6th, with all 14 teams present. There will be 2 divisions of 7, and each team will play a home-and-home series for 12 games. All teams will make the playoffs. There will be no interlocking games until the league finals. The East Division this year will include the Nipawin Farmers, Minnedosa Bombers, Gladstone Lakers, McGregor Wild, Pilot Mound Pilots, Cartwright Clippers, and Wawanesa Jets. As for the West Division, it will include the Boissevain Border Kings, Killarney Shamrocks, Deloraine Royals, Melita Bisons, Hartney Blues, Surrey Elks, and Verdun Oil Kings, who have moved their THHL after being a member club in the North Central Hockey League. League officers are President Brian Franklin from Deloraine, Vice President Rodney White from Nipawin, Referee-in-Chief Brad Graham from Brandon, and Statistician Tyler Mitchell from Elkhorn. The Tiger Hills Hockey League is expected to start its regular season schedule on either the weekend of October 31st or November 7th. The Early Birds gets the $10,000 worm. Congratulations to the brother and sister tandem of Brian and Lorna French of Kelwood, who were the winners of the 2020 Nipawin Farm and Leisure Lotto Early Bird Prize. The siblings, pictured here with lottery chairperson Mary Ellen Clark, decided to select the check for $10,000 as opposed to the new John Deere Gator. Tickets for the annual Farm and Leisure Lotto remain on sale until October 31st. Nipawin UCT awards $19,600 in local scholarships. Nipawin's number 924 Council of the United Commercial Travelers, or UCT, has a wealth of good news to share this fall. 7 local post-secondary students have each been named the recipient of a $2,800 scholarship, courtesy of UCT's May E. Tisdale Scholarship Fund. The story of May Tisdale and the fund established in her name is also the story of UCT's Supreme Auxiliary, or Ladies Auxiliary as it was more commonly known. UCT was founded in 1888 as a fraternal organization specifically for male commercial travelers or traveling salesmen. Eventually, the members' wives, widows, mothers, sisters, and daughters wished to become involved, thus creating a temporary auxiliary in 1933 at a session in UCT's headquarters in Columbus, Ohio, with Tisdale of the Minnesota North Dakota Grand Council elected as Supreme Chairman. The Supreme Auxiliary was officially recognized by UCT 3 years later, and Tisdale became its first auxiliary past Supreme councillor. By that time, there were 28 local auxiliaries across the United States and Canada with 1,062 members. Originally, they raised money for UCT's Widows and Orphans Fund. In 1958, Tisdale helped develop and presented the concept of a scholarship fund to benefit the children and grandchildren of UCT members. It was approved in 1960, beginning with just $17.50 in contributions. The fund grew thanks to generous contributions, gifts, and memorials, and has been administered by each successive auxiliary past Supreme Councillor. From a single recipient of $50 in 1961 to this year's 46 recipients of $2,800 each, for a total of $128,800 over the past 6 decades, the Tisdale Scholarship Fund has awarded almost $700,000 to more than 1,200 university and college students. The Supreme Auxiliary merged with UCT Supreme Council in 1994, and now in 2020 celebrates the 60th and sadly final anniversary of the May E. Tisdale Scholarship Fund. Nipawin UCT number 924 proudly congratulates its 7 local recipients. Matthew Archambault of St. Rose de Lac, who is a grandson of Russ and Eileen Newton. Erica and Sadie McIntosh of Nipawin, who are granddaughters of Terry and Melrose McIntosh. Cameron Moorhead of Verdun, who's daughter of Marcy Moorhead. Brooke Roges of Balder, daughter of Doug and Debbie Roges. And Nicole and Rihanna Turner of Nipawin, daughters of Sandra Turner. Spruce Plains RCMP report. During the week of October 5th to October 11th, Spruce Plains RCMP dealt with 50 police activities. On October 5th, RCMP responded to a string of break-and-enters in the municipality of Westlake Gladstone and the RM of North Cypress Langford. The matter is still under investigation. Police also responded to an uttering threats complaint, a suspicious person, a neighbor dispute, and an emotionally disturbed person. On October the 6th, RCMP responded to a missing child complaint in the town of Nipawin. After an extensive investigation, the child was located the following morning without incident. Police also responded to a mischief complaint where a vehicle was damaged, as well as a lost firearms license which was located by the complainant. On October 7th, RCMP received a report of a sexual assault. The matter is under investigation. Police responded to a fraud complaint in the town of Nipawin, a hit and run in the municipality of Westlake Gladstone, a COVID compliance check, and a well-being check. October 8th, RCMP responded to a sudden death in the town of Riding Mountain, as well as 2 complaints of harassment. On October 9th, RCMP responded to a complaint of an unknown substance located in a parking lot in the town of Nipawin. The substance was believed to be an illicit drug and was seized by police. On October 10th, RCMP received a complaint of an out-of-country vehicle traveling in the RM of Minto O'Donnell. The complainant was concerned that occupants may not have been following the COVID quarantine regulations. Police also dealt with a barking dog complaint and an arson in the town of Riding Mountain, which is still under investigation. On October 11th, RCMP responded to a domestic disturbance in the town of Minnedosa, as well as an unwanted person who was causing a disturbance at a business in the town of Gladstone. RCMP conducted 18 traffic enforcements during this reporting period. If you have any information about these crimes or any other crimes, please contact your local RCMP office or Crime Stoppers at 1-800-222-8477. Due to the ongoing COVID-19 pandemic, the Nipawin and Minnedosa RCMP detachments advise they will be limiting front counter services at the detachments until further notice. We request that you contact each detachment to inquire about criminal record checks or to file a report. Leave a message if needed, and it will be checked the following business day. Nipawin number is 204-476-7340. Minnedosa number is 204-867-2916. Do not leave a message if you require immediate police assistance. Call 911 to have a police officer respond to you promptly. There is a cannabis store to open in Nipawin. A totally different type of retail business will be opening in Nipawin, and it could be as soon as November. Prairie Trichomes, a licensed cannabis producer, has leased the former McLaughlin GM dealership building on Mountain Avenue and is turning it into a recreational cannabis retail store. Del Carrot, president and CEO of Prairie Trichomes, noted that they chose Nipawin for a store because he wanted to serve a rural Manitoba, and this town has the right population and a central location to cater to many surrounding communities. The hope is to be able to open as soon as early November, but Carrot explained that they can't set a definite date because they are still waiting on the licensing. The lease on the building started in mid-August, and Carrot said that it's almost ready for use. There's just some shelving and display pieces to install, plus the security system. Carrot added that once they've been open for a while, they will know whether there is a good market for it in the area and will consider purchasing the building. Originally, he stated that they were staying quiet about bringing Prairie Trichomes to Nipawin because he wasn't sure what the reaction would be, but he's heard some secondhand feedback that suggests many locals are excited about something new coming into the community. Prairie Trichomes is a fairly new company, about a year old now. Recently, Carrot explained that Prairie Trichomes received their micro-cultivation license, allowing them to grow cannabis. They are operating out of Carberry in a 6,000 square foot building, growing at about half capacity, as that is all the micro-cultivation license allows for. Carrot said that in order to use the whole building, they would have to get a standard cultivation license, which is a much longer process. So they got the micro license to get started and will be working on getting a standard license to expand in the future. Carrot explained that the product they are growing will be distributed to retailers through Manitoba Liquor and Lotteries, along with all other cannabis produced in the province. Retailers can order the varieties they want from the Manitoba selection, so Prairie Trichomes product will be able to be found at retailers all over Manitoba. To be able to sell cannabis at their own retail store, Prairie Trichomes needs a retail license, which they are in the process of acquiring. Carrot explained that it's a two-step process to get the license, having to go through both Manitoba Liquor and License and the Liquor Gaming and Canadian Authority of Manitoba. They have been approved by Manitoba Liquor and Lotteries and are now just waiting on the Liquor Gaming and Cannabis Authority for final approval. They also have permission from the town of Nipawin to be able to operate in the community. And the last article of this week's paper is about Gladstone Elks Lodge supporting Happy Rocks Children's Center. Several members of the Gladstone Elks Lodge number 317 recently made 2 presentations to Happy Rock Children's Center Director Jennifer Maloney. A grant of $2,000 was presented as support from the Manitoba Elks Foundation, and a check of $10,000 was presented from the local Elks Lodge. These donations were made towards the equipment and playground developments at their new center. Thank you for joining us today for the reading of the Nipawin Banner and Press. And someone will be reading and seeing you next week.